Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. So, I've been on a little bit of a mission this year, and it's one of those things that you have like a to-do list, and you think to yourself, "Yeah, one day I'd really love to put a bit more effort into that," and then one day you think to yourself, "Actually, I really need to do that." Well, this today's podcast is all about that. So, I'm currently recording this on the beginning part of February. And my goal for this year was to have more sort of PR and press related materials based around the business. So think about Property Industry Eye, Estate Agency Today, The Negotiator, all that sort of stuff. I wanted to get in more of those, basically. And fair to say, it's going pretty well so far. So I've had a couple of requests from people to kind of pop on a podcast and talk about how to do it for your own business. And to start off with, it's actually not that hard. With many things in estate agency and life in general, sounds hard from the outside, and you think it's really complicated. But actually, once you've done it a few times, it's pretty easy and actually doesn't take up too much time in the grand scheme of things. So let's first of all look at why we should want to get in the local paper or local property magazines or whatever else it may be. And yes, it is good for the ego, sort of number one. But more importantly than your ego, I never thought I'd say that, is obviously it builds trust with your clients. It's a fantastic way to say, I am trusted by these publications that they lean on me as the trusted expert in this field, so therefore you should too. So, for example, if I had featured on my website, as featured on BBC One and ITV and Channel 4, you'd be like, wow, Chris has like been on some TV stuff. He must know what he's talking about. It's exactly that sort of thing. Now, how we go about this, there's a couple of ways, and I'm going to talk about the way that I do it because it's worked so far. So therefore, why would I change what's working already? Now, you've got to imagine that you are a journalist for the day. You've got a huge amount of work ahead of you. Obviously, there's a never-ending cycle. You've got an online magazine, for example. You need to post new content every single day on that platform. Otherwise, you're out of date very quickly. If you go on any of the property presses, there's like 3, 4, 5 articles per day. It quite literally is a team's full-time job. And exactly the same as in the newspaper. You need to produce a really big article and some articles every single week with photographs and text around it every single week. It doesn't stop for Christmas. If anything, it ramps up for Christmas. So journalists are stretched. Also, journalists are a bit lazy like most people. If they can get the work done by someone else and kind of take all the credit, they'll quite happily do that. So effectively, we are going to do that for them. Your job is to become sort of a journalist for a day. So how we would look to do that is first things first, highlight publications you'd like to be in. So for me, it's quite easy. We all know the big sort of online sort of magazine, newspaper things for estate agents to look at. So that was quite an easy short list to make. But for yourself, you might do things like, the local extra magazine and local chronicle this and whatever it may be. All the local magazines and newspapers that your local residents will be reading. So you want to get your eyeballs in front of them as much as we possibly can. So what should we be talking about? So what is going to be important to the people who read those magazines? They'll more than likely want to know what's going on in the local market, what's up, what's down, what's selling, what's not, what they can do to help improve their property, what they shouldn't do to their property, and any advice like that. I know Christopher Watkins talks quite a lot about property in general in the UK being the second most popular thing for people to talk about, and it absolutely is. People like talking about it, they like reading about it as well, and you are the gateway to a huge amount of information on that side. You just need to kind of let people in and let them know exactly how much information you have on that subject. So once you've got a good idea about what you want to talk about, and if in doubt, just think about what's going on in the current marketplace. So what's selling, what's not selling, something to avoid, something to do, something not to do, etc. is probably a really good place to start. And a little bit of a hack here. If you go onto ChatGPT and say, look, I'm looking to get some press releases out in the local paper. Can you give me some topics that the local residents of insert town here would be interested in? It will just give you a list of like 20 topics. And you think, actually, 3 of those I think are quite good. And I can actually put some work behind that. So what we're now going to do, once we've got our topic all sorted, now comes the hard work bit. You need to type up the article. You need to type up the article that is probably going to be, a decent, page of A4 or so in length. But what I would do is look at how long the articles are in the local paper. If they're all really, really long, if you're looking to go in the Financial Times, for example, I mean, maybe lower your bar slightly, but if you are looking to get into a big, big newspaper, they'll probably have big, long articles. If you're looking in one of the little A5 magazines, for example, chances are their articles are quite short. Otherwise, it would go over about 4 pages. So look at the sort of length of article that go into the places where you want to get your bits and pieces published. That's a good place to start off with. Then sit around writing your article. Bit of a cheat here. You can use ChatGPT to help you, I would say in part. So all the things that I've done so far are all via myself, and then basically I've got ChatGPT to be a copywriter, and I've gone look through this. What mistakes have I made? How's my punctuation? Could I phrase it in a better way? And it's kind of improved what I've done. I'm very, very sure you can just literally just talk to it, and it will write an article for you. But it will probably sound very ChatGPT, and it'll be like breaking news. This is a game changer, rocket emoji sort of thing, which you're not really a big fan of, and probably the editors will look at that and go, yeah, thanks, mate. So therefore, do it yourself and get someone like ChatGPT to kind of proofread it and check it is as good as it should be. Because obviously, editors don't want to do much editing. If it's all correct punctuation and spelling and grammatically correct, then they'll be onto a winner on that side. And you'll kind of be learned to be kind of a trusted source as well. They know they don't need to kind of double check your homework effectively. So you've got your article. It is 1,000 words long or whatever you think is the correct length for the publication you're going to be into. You also need to supply with that a headshot of yourself. So you might notice if you're in our Facebook group, for me, it's the same shot every single time. I'm always sick of the sight of it, to be honest. I need to change it and email a new one across to a few publications because it's literally the same picture every single time. But you need to attach a headshot of yourself, ideally a professional photo, obviously, not you on like a night out or anything like that at all. And finally, you need some sort of bio for yourself. And when I've sent mine across, I've got a long version and a short version. So the short one, a couple of lines. Chris is the owner of the estate agent consultancy, blah, blah, blah. And the longer one is kind of that plus a few quotes on top of it as well about how we help estate agents grow their business. So once you've got that, effectively what you're going to do is send across an email to the publications you're looking to get published in. And it's going to have the article, it's going to have your bio, and it's going to have your picture as well. And I would send an email along these sort of lines. Again, ChatGPT can help you out with this if you want some fine tuning. Dear Bob, or whatever the name is of the editor, hope you're well. I've written an article entitled What's Happening in the Marketplace in Winchester. And I think it would really resonate with the people who read the Winchester Extra. It covers a few topics about what's happening in the current marketplace, what's selling and what's not selling. I think they'd find it really valuable. I've attached the article for you to this email. Also, I've attached my headshot and also a quick bio of myself as well. If you need any other questions off the back of it, please just let me know. Great, send. That is all you need to do. Make them, if you're sending it out to multiple publications, so for example, let's say you've got a few newspapers in your town, just send out different emails to them saying, hi, Mark, here's an article I think is perfect for the so-and-so Chronicle. And hi, Bob, here's one I think is perfect for the so-and-so Extra. You can overlap on that side, but don't be really lazy and just BCC them all in. Either. As clever as that sounds, people can see through that and they want to have stuff that is directed towards them. So you're effectively doing the editor's job for them in the article because you've written the article, you've got the picture, and you've got your bio as well. If they're feeling super lazy, they could just go copy, paste, upload picture, go out for lunch. And that's really where you need to be with it. So at the moment, I am sending out two articles a month. So every 2 weeks, I have an email which goes out to all the estate agency press, and it's just something that I think is a good topic to talk about, something that I think estate agents would be interested in reading. And so far, I think every single one has been published. Not on all the sites, unfortunately. Some are tougher nuts to crack, unfortunately, but I will wear them down over time, I assure you. At the moment, I've got 16 emails scheduled in my outbox, which go out over about the next 6 months to all the editors, all with the news articles, all ready to go. So I could die a death tomorrow, and you'll probably still find me in one of the property magazines in about 3 months' time. So that is effectively what you need to do to get your articles published by the local papers. I really, really recommend you do it. Having a chat with someone like Simon Ledbetter, his number one thing he thinks agents are missing out on is more PR in their business. So if you can become the trusted advisor to the local paper, for example, should any housing stories come through, they'll come back to you and they'll be like, oh, Chris, you sent us so many articles. Actually, can you tell us your thoughts on XYZ project that's being launched down the bottom of the street? Yeah, no problem at all. I'll be that person for you. You can then link them to blogs, you can put them on your social media pages. There's loads of things you can do with it, but you have to do the work for the team member at the paper. You can't just say, I'm happy to write something for you if you want me to, and let me know if you want me to write any stories about any developments coming up or what's going on in the market. They'll never come back to you. But if you do the work, do the actual typing, put your picture on there, put your bio on there as well, do the email and send it over and over again with different articles over the year, they won't be able to ignore you. So will you get your first public article published first time? Probably not. Probably that will go straight in the editor's bin and they'll wonder who on earth you are. But after the third, fourth, fifth email, they'll be going, actually, this person isn't going away, and actually, this content's pretty good. Therefore, we should put it in our publication. So it isn't a quick fix, unfortunately, this week. It's probably going to take you, I would guess, let's call it an hour a month or so to write 2 articles and schedule your emails. So an hour a month to get in your local paper, once or twice a month. I don't think that's a bad deal, and it's all for free of charge as well. So that's really good. Any questions off back of today? Just let me know. Reach out and touch base with myself. Hope you enjoyed today's podcast, and I'll look forward to reading all your articles in the local papers. Catch up with you soon. Have a good day.